KULR stock is up big today with most of the market, but one thing to consider is the recent moves that the company's been making. Are they going to hurt some of these gains? Well, when they're up 4% today and about 7% yesterday, you can kind of see here, it's this level that we said, oh, it's in this downtrend right now. And if it is going to stay true to the pattern, it would get rejected. But if it's going to have a breakout, it's going to bounce on this 200-day moving average and continue up. Now, just recently, we started to see this level get validated. It's starting to bounce on the 200-day moving average as it recently went from basically 20 cents up to $5.50 in the past 6 months and dropped back down here to $1 and then bounced up to $1.30. That's where it is right now. So that bounce right there was about 15% over the last 2 or 3 days. And now we're saying, what if we see this breakout here completely out of this trend and get back into these levels that we were just at back in March? Well, that would be about a 60% increase. And the type of move, time and time again, that we're seeing with some of these stocks, though, is that they break out and then very shortly after, it was just because they were going along with the wave of the rest of the market and their actual stock sells off after that. Now, I like to be bullish on KULR, but I also don't see the reasons why it would surge tremendously, as they've recently had some not so good financials. If you take a look at their stock, for what we would expect from a company, 360 million market cap, negative 4.6 million net income. So the net income has been getting wider. They've been losing more money, but year over year, it looks better. So it's okay there. But the earnings per share, they met it. The revenue, they pushed it. But the thing is, it's the recent developments with KULR is that we're seeing some good news around that they're working with putting all their money into Bitcoin. For some people, that's good news, but it's also maybe bad news, and a lot of people haven't liked that move, and that's part of why we've seen it sell off. And also, they've been announcing new contracts, which is nice. You see their new contracts that they are announcing, but in those contracts, they're using some AI images, which is fine. I get it, AI images, but at the same time, it's like, let's use real images. Personally, I think that's the way to do it. They announced this partnership with Astroforge, advanced 500 watt hour battery pack, but they don't put any dollar amount and they don't put any time frame for the contract, which is not very good for investors to be looking at. They announced a NASA battery cell selected by leading private US space company, but they didn't give the space company and they didn't give the amount of money. And then you look at, this $6.7 million Texas Space Commission, they give the dollar value, but they don't give the amount of time that they plan to make that money. And if it's guaranteed or if it's on contingency or anything like that, it's just a really short, we have this new, not contract, but we're awarded this much money in a grant award focused on strengthening Texas leadership. But again, one thing that was happening in some of the reports that we've been reading is some of the reports, the dollar amounts look a lot bigger and they might be a lot longer time horizons than one might think. And then in that time horizon, they end up not getting the full contract or seizing the full potential amount of what could be awarded. And that's what some of the shorts have been saying about KULR. So, just keeping that in mind and then looking at it and then not getting confirmation on exactly how much time they have available for this, but also if it's guaranteed or if it's over 5 years or something like that. I mean, if it's over 5 years, that's 5 divided by 4, that's 20 or times 20, 20 into 6.7 million. We're talking about, 300, is that 300K per quarter, which really wouldn't move the needle really all that much for their financials. So I'd like to see some hard numbers. I'd like to see some real clarification, as well as when they're selling their Bitcoin, are they actually buying their own stock or selling their own stock to buy Bitcoin, or is it coming from profits or what have you? Because if they're selling their own stock, then they, I believe, are just diluting investors, and it's not so good for us. So personally, as someone that likes the technology and has been looking at it optimistically. I'm just saying, hey, maybe this recent push up is just some temporary push up with the rest of the market, and we might see it sell back down here into these levels still of around $1 a share, just based on what we're seeing in the near term. Also, if you just kind of drop down into the near term here, on the 1 hour, it does look a little overextended on this recent move. You can see MACD and RSI looking overextended. So maybe we see it drop back down to this $1 range. I mean, you can see the support and resistance right now. That's looking pretty clear right here. Got a support right there. And then you got the resistance as well. Previous support. Okay, so previous support right there. And then you have the previous resistance right here that it basically could be getting rejected here, and we could see it sell back down. So just keep that in mind. I like to see the bull moves, but again, part of what allowed us to trade and be up 5% today in our portfolio is some of the plays we've been looking at in AI, like CTM, looking at Big Bear AI that has some real potential. And those are the trades that we're making this morning, and that's what's allowed us to grow. And if you guys ever want to see those live trades and catch them, we just wrapped up our market session not too long ago. This morning, as we do every day, Monday through Friday, that's inside of StockMate. So if you ever want to join us there, it's that second link in the description to join us at Market Open tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. I'll see you guys in the next one. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing. Take care.